Kudash, 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 Adonai, Elohim, Sabaoth, meaning holy, 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 Lord of hosts. That is the prayer that the angels sing day and night to the Most High. Yah, He, Va, He. Those four syllables can be said as a mantra. The first Yah signifying the Father who art in heaven, Abba, the architect of the universe. He signifying the divine feminine as Mother Nature, the womb of the earth where mankind was created. Va being mankind itself, back to the divine masculine. In the beginning, Elohim said, "Let us create them in our image." And he said that he created man in the womb of the earth from the dust of the ground, and he breathed the breath of life into them, which is the ether. Back to He, which is divine feminine, which is Mother Nature, Anna Chokma, Mother Wisdom, which is referred to as a her. Both He's are divine feminine. First Yod is a divine masculine. He is a divine feminine. Ba, mankind, is divine masculine. Back to He, which is divine feminine. As above, so below. The macro prosophis above and the micro prosophis below, because we are the microorganisms and the host of the Elohim. Today, I'm about to go into another post in which I put on Facebook. But as I was writing this post, I didn't think this post through. These were just divine aspirations as they were coming to me on my take of the daily events in the course of nature and the things that are happening in this time, space, and matter that we are in. So I'm going to jump right into it and I'm going to read what I said. Here's my take. I know they're telling everyone about wildfires, but for the simple fact, I seen something move through the red sun the other day. I think they're putting stuff in the air to make artificial clouds, to block it, and using fires as a base front so you don't comprehend the bigger picture of what's happening. Because chemtrails were meant to block a lot of things out, but it's not working anymore. There are massive reports of unidentified objects not of Earth's origin being spotted or taken down. And this has been reported on the news when all the train derailments were happening around the time of the Chinese spy balloon scare was in progress. Now we're getting consistent patterns of blood red suns, almost daily now. So put two and two together. One of the 10 plagues of the apocalypse meaning great revealing of Abraham, is conflagration. Conflagration means fires in cities or land masses, all in the 7-year cycle of 2017 through 2024. You know, 2017 is when we got our first solar eclipse, and they say X marks the spot. So in 2024, they said another eclipse is going across the country, which will create an X. And all within that 2017 year period, we had 3 significant events. One was in August of 2017, which was the solar eclipse. And out of the 6 and 7 book of Moses, the ancients referred to it as a sign of doom. In September of 2017, we had the Revelation 12 constellation up in the heavens in the stars. The exact constellation as is described in the book of Revelation, the book of Revealing. In October of 2017, astronomers said that all of a sudden cigar-type shaped rock or craft had entered the atmosphere, which they called as Oumuamua. But in other texts, it is described as a angelic biosatellite, and some people even call this the dark satellite, But those are three events of 2017: August, the solar eclipse; 2017, the constellation in the heavens of Revelation 12; and then in October 2017, we had space rock Oumuamua that popped up in the atmosphere. And since then, from 2017 to 19, we got one of the first plagues of the 10 plagues of the apocalypse of Abraham, which was sorrow and much need, which deals with sickness and health, basically with the pandemic. So, and then the second one would be fiery conflagration of cities. And we've been seeing wildfires going on around the world for a while, but now certain things right now in this present day time zone, they're picking up at a significant rate, And today, as I'm watching the news, not only is Canada on fire with wildfires, they said somewhere in California, and also it is a volcano that erupted in Hawaii as well, all in the same time, space, and matter, as we've been getting these repeated blood red suns in the sky lately, I always tell people, follow the consistency and pattern. And also, in the 7-year period, 2017 through 24, we have prophecies of Matthew 24. How will you know the signs of thy second coming? You will hear of wars, rumors of wars, nations rising against nations, famines, pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places. Earthquakes in diverse places is weather in places that it does not normally happen. It's what they call global warming, but what I call a pole shift, when things are being rearranged, Places that's normally hot, it's going to be cold, and places that's normally cold, it's going to be hot. So at the same time, we've been hearing of the rumors of war from Korea to China to Ukraine to Russia, and like it says in Revelations, it says, Mystery Babylon, that great whore that sitteth upon many waters. We know who has a base on everybody's land and has their hands in all global affairs. And it also says their attributes will be as spiritual Sodom. We already know how that goes, with the sexuality and the rights they promote and produce. And it says spiritual Egypt. Egypt is equivalent to the Greek word Egyptos, which means bondage. Bondage, physically enslaving people, having people as a prisoner of war, and mental bondage when you have your Jim Crow, your Willie Lynch, and have people basically set the stage against people so they can remain the head and other people will be the tail, basically making up laws to where as though it will not allow them or benefit them or made in their favor so they can get ahead in society, But that's to the attributes of this specific nation. So we know who we're referring to because, like I said, 2017, the first eclipse, known as an Omen of Doom, out of the 6th and 7th book of Moses. There's another one coming in 2024. And this is exact 7-year period. In the Bible, they would call it the Great Tribulation. Some people call it the Great Reset. Some people call it the Great Resignation. But what I'm saying is, this is all within a 7-year period. Signs in the heavens, events, from eclipse to the Revelation 12 constellation, to Oumuamua popping up in the atmosphere, to the whole COVID-19, and at the same time, believe it, COVID, as it said, coronavirus, the corona of the sun is heating up all at the same time. We've been getting a lot of solar flare, X flare impacts hitting Earth, and every time that happens, it has an effect on nature, which causes all living organisms on the planet, to change. And that has an effect on global warming and the pole shift as well. And also, like I said, in this 7-year period, you have wars and rumors of wars and nations rising against nations. Famines, earthquakes in diverse places, weather in places it doesn't normally happen. And you're starting to see a whole bunch of abnormal events, meaning not normal events from your daily norm, all within this 7-year period. But I'm talking about current day right now. So in this 7-year cycle of 2017 to 2024, in all the events of Matthew 24 are actually happening right before our eyes. In most of the events, the book of Revelation speaks of, with the sun, constellations, and mark of the beast ideology about buying and selling, from the pandemic to the economic collapse that is in effect, that will initiate a currency change, And when I say buying and selling, I'm talking about if you didn't have proof that you got the jab, then you weren't able to buy or sell or go into certain establishments, if that makes any sense. The economic collapse, because the dollar is resetting, because all of these nations are making a pact together, to switch to the Chinese yuan after this whole issue with the global sanctions on Russia and putting a lot of their money on freeze, to where as though that they had to trade in rubles. So most of these other countries are looking at it like, dang, if they did that to them, they can do that to us. What's the point of us using their currency as the top currency in exchange, when they can just basically turn our money off in an instant, And then you have to think about it. The US dollar is being printed out of thin air. It's not backed by any gold or silver since the Roosevelt era. And really, there is no value to it, So a lot of countries are hip to that, as well as from those global sanctions and them being able to just turn your money off, basically, if they don't like something. And that's not how it's supposed to go. If you gained something and that became your capital, that is yours. No one has the right to say, oh, we're going to turn your money off because we print this money, which really has no value to begin with, So think about that. The economic collapse that is in effect, that will initiate a currency exchange. Now you can go back and watch my videos, the videos I put on this YouTube channel. I've been talking about them from sunspots. I've been going in different books, different texts, linking the consistencies, the patterns, over the last year. I touched on just about every topic, from Matthew 24, the book of Enoch, the apocalypse of Abraham, and the 10 plagues and events on humanity, the 7-year period, current events of things that have been happening, at a rapid rate, and so on and so on. Everything I've been saying is happening exactly in the same timeline I predicted. The truth is stranger than fiction. While everyone seen the stage being set, whether they acknowledged it or ignored it in ignorance or enlightenment. Check the timestamp. The clock is ticking. This is abnormal and clear of a confirmation as it gets. I'm tired of warning as the masses remain asleep in slumber, but the universe has its number, and it's a small number. Many are called, few are chosen. From the looks of the rapid rates of events, because the more that awake, the more things will happen, because there's no salvation without chaos. And I believe that number is reaching its fullness. These are the signs of the time, but nobody wants to believe it will happen in their time. And trust me, it's nothing like you were taught to perceive it to be. In newsflash, somebody has to be here to bear witness to what was already ordained, but nobody wants to believe it will happen in their time, because in the process of the happening, they won't even get the memo, because the deaf, dumb, and blind mentality. And the Bible even says they will suffer strong delusions and illusions due to misinformation and religious institutions guiding their flocks to their demise, and be taken by surprise, because it will come like a thief in the night. Please let me know what's on your hearts and on your thoughts at this current time of events. We are all supposed to operate as a collective consciousness. If you're unaware to form the body as a whole, being the host, temples, and vessels of the Elohim, because we are the Elohim, the image we were created in. Psalms 82, ye are all gods and children of the Most High, designed to be Christ, because the Christos spirit and abilities is in our consciousness. When we rapture to our most high selves of spirituality and awareness, why we exist and our purpose in the first place, but have been misled by those that kill, steal, and destroy, and hide in wicked places, principalities plus municipalities, and rulers of the darkness that keep you in the dark and in a state of ignorance, so you don't reach your fullness and tap into what they fear the most, because their power will be cut off by source. The panel of the electrical box of the electrified electrolyte, 9 ether beings with all the elements and 9 gases that make up the spirit, which is the spirit, which is light, to sustain life and keep life going as the fuel of humanity. The children of light, children of El, the reflection, biblically known as the Israelites, but are of the all/source in our spiritual lights, whose existence makes the planet manage. Our thoughts control the way nature moves, for better or worse, because our mentalism is the universe. And when thoughts are turned to action, it changes the nature of things in us and around us. It's said when two become one in the Gospel of Thomas of the Dead Sea Scrolls by the Messiah, as well as the Bible. You will be able to tell a mountain to move, and it will move. When two become one, the thought and the emotion in you is the key to unlock your power and manipulate and control the elements of nature with your mind. The Messiah never intended for followers, but equals. That's why he also said in the Bible, you will be able to perform the things I have and even work greater wonders. But nobody really understood, or overstood the metaphors, allegories, parables, and figurative language he was speaking because of simplicity. And now all the other texts today that fill in the blanks are forbidden or apocryphal. Apocryphal meaning hidden in the Greek translation. Therefore, the same people who took the efforts and fulfilled the dark prophecies and used the dark side of the art of nature and the nature of things against you controls the narrative by manipulation of information, of how you are to perceive things to be. Satan deceiveth the whole world. Satan is a collective consciousness of ignorance of the evil inclination and of grotesque origin. The opposing force and the duality of everything has its opposite. For light, there's darkness. For righteousness, there's ignorance. And that ideology works through people, places, and things as a whole, as a system, and a train of thought, process, and influence on humanity that impacts the nature of things to block your frequency, to keep it low, because the higher it is, the closer you are to source. And the more freely you can move through the simulation, they alter reality, because reality is really all what you make it. But they made it a stronghold against the free will of individuals. That's why they made society a corporation, not a independent entity, because when you speak out as an individual, the corporation slash beast systems deems you crazy or a threat, and they quickly try to write that individual off, because it can affect the power structure as a whole to stay in power by controlling the narrative of your perception of reality in their altered simulation. If you ever read the book of Enoch, the fallen angels had to make a mutual pact and bound themselves together to fulfill their act against the balance and order of the nature of things. And based on how they were designed to be, for everything to work in harmony, same thing they have done, as above, so below, not in a good way, but on the dual side, because everything is created and operates in duality. Their power is derived from their source of their ideology. I only know these things because we are in the apocalypse, which is the great revealing, and everything is being revealed in the constellation age of Aquarius, which is the age of information. And information brings transformation in a transition period, which is the cycle of Earth we are in now. The cycle only becomes obvious by the consistency and patterns of events of the time we are in, which I call the signs of the time, but biblically written, as you will know, by the signs and wonders. So no one can make it up. It creates and makes itself known in the periodic cycles. That's how Mother Nature, or Hey in the Yah Hey Va Hey, speaks to us. Again, these are the mysteries of mysteries. All the answers we seek, we already have them locked away in our eternal essence, which is known as the Akashic records of the ether. And if ether is in the air, known as the breath of life, which is nature outside of us, and ether is in our DNA, plasma in the blood, which is ionized gases, to fuel the host temples and vessels, which is the spirit in our energy state. That is nature within us. So that's what causes the effect for these things to be revealed in time, space, and matter of a cycle. That's why I said before, a body can die, but energy never does. It transfers in a transition, just like it's transferring back to some of us and enhancing us in this transition period. The solar return, souls of old being renewed / rebirth in the kingdom to come, so the will is done on earth as it is in heaven. The upper room is at the top of the tree / tree of life. Leaves die in a season, periods of cycles, but they come back renewed from that very same tree. So, did you die, or did you just forget or can't get it right because you're unbalanced? When your equilibrium is in harmony, you're balanced. And if you're balanced, you're healthy. And if you're healthy, you're wealthy. And when you're wealthy, you're stable. And when you're stable, you're able. And when you're able, you're free. And when you're free, the will is done on earth. And everything is in equilibrium, in peace, and harmony forever. And the sun will never go down, as it states in the Bible, at the 12 gates divided in 4 corners. In each corner, there's 3 entrances. 3, 6, 9, 12. You know, it talks about this in the book of Revelation. There are 3 entrances. My point is, if the sun never goes down, there will be no more seasons for leaves of trees to fall and to have to regrow, regroup, or remember themselves in cycles, but be vibrant and fluorescent forever. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. As I was growing up, people thought I was weird. I never really tried to talk much because I knew they would not understand me. Maybe I was young and wasn't ripe yet. I was just considered bad and labeled misunderstood. Now I realize I was on to something then and was going through hell on earth to be who I am today. Salah, so be it. I'm out.